Hey guys, welcome back to the Meters YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I make beef pate, beef liver pate. So you can make this pate with other livers like duck liver, chicken liver. The recipe stays the same. The one thing that I have to say with beef liver, I feel like it's quite a strong taste. When you do chicken liver or duck liver, the taste becomes a little bit more smooth, light, and as does the texture. So if you're not a huge fan of liver, but you're interested in making a pate, I would probably suggest going with chicken or duck. It's going to be a much more lighter, palatable taste. But I love me some liver, so like give me any kind of liver, duck, pork, beef, I'll eat it. I love it. I love that strong livery organ taste. So I got my liver obviously from Wild Meadows Farm, which used to be Green Pastures Farm. I love their liver. It's so tasty. It's grass fed and grass finished, and I usually try to eat liver at least once or twice a week. This batch that I'm making should last me a couple of days, probably the whole week, I hope. I don't know, sometimes though I can't contain myself. It's so freaking good. And I've already kind of trimmed off some of the pieces that I know once cooked will be like chewy and hard and rough, because I do want the pate to be fairly smooth. And you can use however much liver you want. I'm going to be using about this much, and I'll be transferring it into this little jar that I got, which I've never used before, so I'm very excited. And you will also need rendered fat. I used to make my pate with duck fat, which I thought was really good because duck fat's kind of creamy, but I don't have any of that today, so I'm going to use rendered beef fat, which I'm sure is going to be just as delicious. You can use bacon grease, you can use butter, beef tallow, any kind of fat that you can find. And I just use salt, but if you want, you could use seasoning if you don't have any negative reactions. So let's move on to the next step. So the next step that you want to do is set your stove to very low heat. Get a nice frying pan. I'm using the Rock, and add a hefty amount of fat in there. So we're gonna add some fat, and the goal here is to cook the liver on low heat. You don't want to burn it. You want to just like kind of boil it in the fat so that it's just really juicy and buttery, and it's gonna leave a lot of juices behind, which you're then gonna use for the pate mixture. So I'm just gonna let this melt down, and I'll be back with the liver. So I'm gonna add the liver in here. I did have to turn the heat up just a little bit. I'm just getting to know this stove, but just make sure it's low heat, just a little bit below medium, I'd say. Like right now, my heat is at a 3.5. And just let it do its thing. Let it cook and let it build those juices, and I'm going to show you guys when it's time to flip. The secret here is you do not want to overcook the liver. You want it to be juicy and like almost medium rare on the inside. That's going to give you a way more smoother pate. It's not going to be like a chalky, dried out pate. Alright, time to check on these guys. You can see that the blood is coming up on the other side, so it's time to flip. And and I do suggest using a lid. I unfortunately don't have a lid, so I'm going to use my splatter screen, which works just as fine because it's actually a pretty thick splatter screen. But if you have a lid, that is even better. It's going to really lock in all of that moisture in there. And I'm going to add some salt, some red mittens. Can't go wrong with the salt. And I'm going to lower the heat a little bit because it's starting to fry up a little bit too much. And I'm going to cover. I'm going to do another flip. Alright, you guys, so this is what I have just finished cooking up, this wonderful juicy liver. I have not yet transferred all of that rendered fat liquid from the frying pan in here, but I will because I'm going to be using those juices for the pâté. And I just wanted to show you how it should look on the inside, or at least how I prefer the liver to cook on the inside. It's still a little bit pink. So I personally like that because I find that when it's pink, your liver is gonna be smoother and creamier as opposed to chalky and to dry out in the future. So let's move on to the next step. Time to transfer the special sauce. There we go. Make sure we get all of it. Every last bit. Okay. For the next step, you can use a blender, food processor. Unfortunately, I'm working with a Magic Bullet, a really, really small one, but it'll do. I'm just gonna have to do multiple rounds. So I'm gonna start filling this bad boy up. All right, so now we are gonna blend it up. You're gonna see that if it's not liquidy enough, you'll need to add more fat. So what I'm gonna do now, see, it's kind of like this, but I want it to be more liquidy. So in order to get more liquid, you need to put more fat. So I am going to add all of this liquid. There we go. I could drink that liquid. It's so good. Let's try this again. Take two. Okay, a little bit better. Give me 1 second as I render some more, get some more rendered fat. Okay, so I've got some more rendered fat. I had to use the microwave. I don't really like doing that, but desperate times call for desperate measures. And I'm gonna add it to the pâté, and then I'm gonna add the remaining pieces of liver, and that should mix pretty well. And just another side note, what I love about this recipe is that liver is full of protein, but when you're mixing it with fat, it's just the perfect combination. So we got our protein in the liver and our grass-fed beef fat. You can't go wrong. So I'm gonna add the fat in there. And I have 3 more pieces of liver. Let's see what happens. Unfortunately, I think that my Magic Bullet is not the best, but if you have a good food blender or like a strong smoothie machine, food processor, you should be having no difficulty with this, not like I am. But this doesn't have a very strong blade, but we're gonna make it work. It's a lot better. I'm still gonna add some of the remaining fat in there. And whatever else is left in this little bowl. And mix it up. And very important part. Now taste it and add salt. And actually look at it. Do you like the consistency? Truthfully, I want mine a little bit creamier. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna add just a little bit more rendered fat. All right, time to add some more fat and salt. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna stir it up a bit. As I said, my blender is not so good, so I just wanna make sure that what I'm getting is an even consistency. And also take this as a taste opportunity to see if I need any more salt. Nope, it's perfect. Okay, one last mix. Oh, and we are good to go. Oh my gosh, it's been a while since I've made pâté. Oh, I can't wait. The hard part is that I'm gonna have to refrigerate it and wait until it gets a bit cold. I find like I like it cold. It's kind of weird, so that's okay. We're gonna transfer it in here. Okay, you guys, here is the beautiful beef pâté, nice and juicy. I am gonna store it in the fridge and I'll check back in with you guys as soon as it is cooled off for a real taste test. Beautiful, creamy beef pâté. I made some egg yolk muffins like always. Brings me back to the days when I used to eat bread minus the carbs and way more health benefits. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Remember, you could do this liver pâté with any kind of liver. If you like my videos, feel free to watch the other 2 videos on the screen, and I hope you have a wonderful week.